Welcome back. I went through step 1 already offline. When I read step 1, I realized what had been putting me off on this. Step 1 reads, set up for a 6L6, but don't put a tube in, with one exception. Turn the plate knob to exactly 52, turn off the tester and unplug it for the entirety of this step. Attach the positive lead of a DC power supply to a 1K ohm resistor and the other end of the resistor to the octal socket pin 8. Attach your DMM on the DC ammeter function with the appropriate lead hookup changes to pin 3 of the octal socket and the other DMM lead to the negative terminal of the power supply. So, I took the power supply, or the transformer that I'm going to use for the upcoming tube amp, and hooked it through a diode bridge to make DC. It didn't necessarily say I have to have filtered DC, so. And use the variac to dial the voltage up. And the reason why is, well, I'll continue reading it. Turn on the power supply and start at 0 volts. Hold down the V button, which I did. And I lost my place. Hold down the V button and increase the power supply voltage till the output voltage until you read 25 milliamps on the digital multimeter, which I did. And the reason why I ended up using that was because it says, please note that it will take about 70 volts DC from the power supply to achieve a 25 milliamp current flow in this setup. So I did that, and the scale was not where it should be. So where did it say here? The 658 meter needle should be pointing at exactly half scale. If it is not, adjust R29 until it is, monitoring the digital multimeter for 25 milliamps, as the current draw through the tester will change as you adjust R29, which it did do, and that was a lot of fun, because dialing the variac on a 250 volt power supply to stay around 70 volts was tedious. But I did it, and it's in the middle. It took a few tries. I had to finagle it, and it is not in the same place it was when I started, so it was definitely off. So now I'm on step 2. Again, set up for a 6L6, but don't plug a tube into the tester. Set your variac to exactly 120 volts. Turn the line input selector to 120. Plug the 658 into the variac and turn it on. Now, I also use this as an excuse to calibrate my meter here, which was off. And it was only off because I noticed last week that the needle was above 0. So I zeroed it out, which puts it off by 5 volts. It was only $4 and it came from China with free shipping, so I'm not going to complain. Anyhow, so it's up at 120, and I notice my variac drifts a little bit. I suppose a tenth of a volt isn't going to kill me, but anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. And the line voltage is not quite at 100 in the middle. I'm assuming that's what they want. And this is dancing around a little bit. Okay, we're at 100. Flashing between 119.9 and 120. Let's see what it says. Adjust R20 for an exact mid-scale reading. And R20 is... I labeled these, but I labeled them on the side like a dumbass. I should have labeled them on the top. Let's see, where's R20? So this is R20. Guess we'll find out in a second. Guess I shouldn't touch this. I don't know where that's... Okay. Alright, smack in the middle. I should have left well enough alone. One of these days I get to buy expensive equipment that's not kind of half-assed. Although again, maybe I shouldn't be complaining about a tenth of a volt. Okay. Check the positioning of your line input selector knob by rotating through all positions with the 658. The highest meter reading should be when the knob points at the dot above 100. Although it'll be very close to the reading right at 100. At this point, it's a good idea to set up the 68 per the roll chart for a few different tubes of filament voltages and measure the voltages being applied to the filament, the tester on the function switch to test to see if your filament voltage are what they should be. They should all be within 3%. Turn the tester off. Okay. So, as I rotate this down, this thing's all over the place. Alright, well, I'm going to consider that okay. So I have the 6L6 in there. Alright, set for a 6L6, and I have the 6L6 out, so at this point it's a good idea to set this. Turn function switch to test, see if we feel what this should be. Okay, so it's set up for a 6L6, and geez, I don't know what the pinout is for 6L6 off the top of my head. Let's find out. Geez, I don't have anything with a 6L6 in it. Alright, let me go pull up a tube chart for a 6L6 so I can see which pins are the heater. It's probably going to be 1 and 8 just because it'll take me a minute to find it. So I'll be right back. Okay, well, the 6L6G, which I'm going to pull out here, is on pin 2 and 7. However, what I want to do is I want to put the tube in, and I want to test the voltage with it under load. And I'm using the 6L6 in particular because it's got the filament's half an amp, so this will be a better test, I think, and tell me what voltages I'm getting. I guess I have a dirty contact here, but let's try a compactron. Okay, I'm getting 6.41 volts, and before the tube was in there, I was getting 6.4, and before the tube was in, I was getting 6.67. So, and this is actually set at 6.4. I don't know why this tube tester, for instance, it does 13.6 for 12.6. So that's kind of weird, but 6.4 is the voltage. So I'm assuming that's what it should be. Let's see. And it wants me to do a couple other tests, so different voltages. I'm going to go get another tube. I'll be right back. Alright, well, I tested a couple of the voltages on a couple of different tubes, 12 and 35 volt tube, and one thing I noticed is this adjustment up here is a sort of a fine adjustment for the heater voltage. And what I was finding is that if I have this set to J, I get the voltage I'm getting out of here with a tube in there is much closer. Either H or J is much closer to what it should be. It's a little low on the higher voltages. So I'm going to need to investigate that a little bit. I don't see any of these pots here that fine-tune the AC voltage for the filaments, so that's a bit of a pain in the butt. So I'm not sure. I'm going to have to take a look at that. Either that, or I may, ruin this as an antique piece of equipment and put a meter in there, connect it up to. I don't know. I'll think about it. But anyway, let me. I need to flip this up for this test here, and I just want to make sure everything's working. So I'll be right back. Okay, I have this all set up with the 6L6, and I have the pins in the back because the thing I'm using here, it's too loose in these sockets, and the socket I need to adjust is in the back here. So the interesting thing about this is that the meter is different depending on the setting the orientation. If it's vertical, it's off a little bit when it's at rest, and when it's horizontal, it's at 0. So so I have to kind of make a best guess at this. So it should be at 452, and I'm just below 450. So I'm going to adjust this a little bit. Okay, it's just a hair. No, it's right at 450, so... No, it's not. It's at 500. Darn it. Alright, right at 450, and this is at 451, so I'm going to call that done. Okay, so let's set up for test... Hey, quit that. Test 4. Okay, we're done with the tube, so I'm going to make a break on this, and I'm going to edit the video a little bit. And as you can see, this is what I was saying. When it's up, it's above 0, and then when I put it back down here, I don't know if you can see that, but when I put it back down, absolutely horizontal, it's right on 0. And actually, it's mentioned in here, these things are really notorious for being, these meters being sensitive. In fact, usually when you first turn it on, you generally have to give it a quick little double tap on the one side to steady the meter, or to get the meter to settle right where it should be. So I guess it's just something known with these things. Anyway, so I'll be back. Okay, well, I'm not going to move on to step 4. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night, because I just don't feel like working on this anymore tonight. It's Monday. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and upload this, and I'll do steps like 4, 5, and 6. I don't know, since this is becoming a long video anyway. I'll just do a video for every couple of steps, and we'll see. And again, in the meantime, I'm going to take a look at this, as I was saying, because it sort of annoys me. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.